For those of you joining, thank you. My name is Anuschka. I'm an empowerment health coach and energy healer.
Hello, this is Jacob Moya, and I also practice my own therapy. It's a discovered modality. You know, I don't have any particular name for it, but it helps you to release trap emotion, blockages, and things that don't allow you to feel or to heal.
Yes. And being as humble as you are, I see Jacob as an energetic master shaman. He is also a very intuitive healer. Absolutely amazing. So thank you all for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about taking responsibility and ownership in our lives. And we wanted to have a Q&A around that and have some engagement for those of you that are interested. Feel free to ask questions as well. But so to begin, why do we need to take ownership? Why do we need to take that responsibility?
Well, that's a very simple answer, actually, because you cannot change anything that don't belong to you, right? Like for example, if you hurt yourself and it's in your finger, it's your finger, you can heal it. You can do the things to heal your finger. But if it's someone else's finger, and someone else don't wanna, you know, clean it or wash it or do whatever it needs to heal it, there's nothing that you can do. You can see this very clearly between parents and children. You know, usually children, the parents want children to behave in a certain way and to do certain things in a certain way because they care for their kids, right? So they want to make sure that they start learning ways or interactions in a way that is going to be easier and simple for them to interact socially in life. But kids have a mind of their own, right? They act any way they want, any way they please. So what's the problem here? Because the kid don't belong to the mother, they cannot force the kid. I mean, they can suggest, they can do all kinds of things, but the person that needs to do the changes is the kid in this particular case. So with problems, with health issues, with disagreements, with all kinds of things, it's no different. You know, it's exactly the same. It's a matter of taking ownership of your share of the responsibility in order for you to work with it.
Absolutely. And yeah, and actually Naveed on Facebook just asked a question. He said, are you talking about your ownership of your thoughts and actions being in your own skin?
And right. I think it's everything right now, you know. It's everything. Yeah. It's like if you, for example, you are a person that catch yourself criticizing someone else and you say, well, but you know what? I am not a critical person. You know, I don't care anybody else's business. Well, then there's nothing for you to switch. I mean, that message that you are getting, you know, when you start criticizing someone else, it's a reaction. It's a reaction that have a source. So there's a reason why you have that. I mean, if you say, well, but this is not really me, then there's nothing to change, right? There's nothing for you to learn. So your statement and your belief is going to create a blockage that is going to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm not saying that you're wrong if you're criticizing. I'm just saying that there's nothing for you to improve or to change, you know, to and take it to another level. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so like the other part of it is like, when are we supposed to take ownership? And I know partially we answered that, but also I see it as like, when I know I made an impact even on someone else, I feel like that's a key as well, rather than saying, oh no, that's all you. But right. It's like taking ownership and knowing how you leave others, I think, is a part of it too.
You know what? Well, you were talking. I just remember an interaction that we have here at the Holistic Center. Mm-hmm. This is a holistic center. I am working with them, and it's a very unique and different proposition because it's inside of a corporation. And so this is a company that sells foods and avocado oil, and they have a whole line of products. It is called Chosen. And down on the basement, they created this oasis, this magnificent holistic center that is open to the public. But in exchange for the share of the rent that we should pay, we have to help their employees. Now, most of the employees that have issues here are very stress-driven persons. You know, that they are used to living this way. And so the thing is, the thing here is that I work with executives that are not looking for holistic alternatives. When they get sick, they go to the doctor and they get a pill, and that's how they live, right? But anyway, one ventured to come down, and we did the whole system, and I mean, his life was transformed. He was like, oh my God, I never slept this well before, and I'm happy all the time, and this is magnificent, right? Because we're working on the emotions and on the physical side at the same time. And then they start coming up. And I was working with one executive. It's like the administrator or something. It's top-notch executive. It's a lady, very strong, very driven. She's always like boom, 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 boom. And I asked her, "Are you always like that?" And she said, "Well, for me, there's only two speeds: fast and faster." You know. And I was like, "Okay." You know? But anyway, you know, I was working with her and releasing emotions and things that were creating imbalances in her organs. And when we are doing the closing of those emotions, turns out that she just pop up and said, "You know what? I don't think that this is going to work for me," you know? And I was all zen, all into the mood. And she was like, "Oh, okay." Well, now, at that particular moment, I couldn't say it's her problem. She's not ready for this. You know, she needs it. Or try to convince her that what I was doing was for her best interest, you know, or try to justify why I'm doing this with other examples and other people and mention, throw names, you know, "Oh, do you remember this and how he feels?" Well, it's because he went through this process. I mean, but all that would it be just to make her wrong and make me right? You know, so taking ownership in this particular interaction was about, "You're right, you know, this is not for you." Okay, you know, not a problem. I apologize. Do I really need to apologize? Yes. Why? Because she was feeling uncomfortable, and I was the one creating that feeling in her. So in order for me to close completely the circle and not make her wrong and not try to leave the experience in an opposite road, you know, I was just like, she deserves an apology because I made her wrong. And I just say, "I am very, very sorry. I should have asked you before or explain you what we want to do, what we were going to do." And then I asked her, the next step in this process is this biomagnetism that is like acupuncture but with magnets. Is something that you want to try? It's non-invasive, and I give her all the information, you know, and she's like, "Okay, I'm okay with that." Okay, cool. And then I move out and I bring the other therapist in, and I allow that other therapist to do her thing. And then, of course, my ego was, you know, because I am so used to the people telling me that I am such a wonderful person and what a magnificent experience, and then they feel transformed. But in this particular case, it was like, "No, what you are doing is not the right thing for her," right? So I came to my office and I started removing all my personal emotions, all the things that are making me feel bad about this. Because, like I said, she was not wrong. I'm taking ownership. You know, I took ownership of that event. I heal it, I release everything. And then afterwards, when she was done, I went to see her and I asked her how she liked it, you know, the other part of the therapy. And I told her, "Well, if you have any question, whatever, just feel free, just let me know. And I apologize again for making you feel uncomfortable." "Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. Good. We're okay. You know, but I already released all the stuff. Right. At night at home, I noticed that I was still carrying stuff, you know, so did it again. Mm-hmm. You know, and the other person of the center that works with me, the one that brings her over, she told me, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I, no. Actually, this is fantastic, right? Because we are seeing a new type of clients that are not used to a holistic method, so we have to design something for them, right? But again, the example, the core of this experience that I'm sharing with you guys is that's the advantage of taking ownership, you know, that you take control out of the ball, you don't make it bigger, don't make it to the point that it's going to explode and split everybody around. It's just keep it here and then make it smaller, and it disappears, you know, and you continue.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, and what I hear with that too is we all have our own. That's why I don't like. For me, I'm like, there's no such thing as a right or wrong because each person has their own right,
exactly.
And so it just doesn't. So it's like when you come from there, then you can actually control your ego a little bit more because our ego is involved, right? Yeah, and so that's really what I hear in this is, and she probably wasn't ready to go there and feel uncomfortable. And
next day we receive an amazing text telling us that after our appointment she went to the chiropractor and she told her, what are you doing? You know, I never were able to work on your back this easily, you know, you are completely relaxed, and she wanted to come back again, you know, but there you go, you know, that's how it is.
Yeah.
You know? So.
It's said to me, taking responsibility in any case, even if there's times where I notice, for instance, I'm like, oh, I feel like maybe someone is upset with me or whatever it looks like. I will, because of the fact that I'm in my head about it, because that's what we do a lot of times, we get in our head about things, I will always reach out and I will make some kind of like, hey, did I do anything to upset you in any way? Did I leave you in any way? Just to clear the air, because I'm always about having nothing in my head about how I leave others, and I'll take ownership of it. And I may have those outbursts, and it's just, I feel like for me, it's just always like, okay, yes, I just had an ego outburst, let me take ownership and apologize for leaving them a certain way. So that's nice.
And let me tell you something else. I mean, because you're mentioning here something that is very important. When we don't clear the space, it's like energetically what's happening is that you are creating contracts, like karmatic contracts. But the universe, life, God, Jesus, whatever name you want to put on it, you know, in their wisdom, they created this experience, I mean, this system where you get to experience someone else on an opposite way, on an opposite role, you know, so you can actually feel how the other person was feeling when they were doing that to you, you know, and I honestly believe that we go through these processes in order for us to heal, you know, to heal that past event, not to pass it again, you know, and start a new cycle. It's for us to be aware of, well, he really didn't mean it, you know, it was, or she didn't mean it. It's like, it just happened because that's how I experienced it. You know, I was all excited and I have all these things going on and I have a full moon and then I exploded and I say things that I shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But probably she or this person that I have on my mind that did this to me was going through a similar process, you know, so it's not even their fault. Right. It's like, okay, I choose to, now that I understand, full circle, heal it. What you are doing is something that is extremely recommended for all the people that are in a spiritual path. Is don't wait to live the similar experience on an opposite role. You know, it's just, I just leave it, just finish it here, you know, just don't make it, don't waste your time, you know, just take ownership, heal it, let it go, set yourself free.
Absolutely. You know? And that's the key, is you set yourself free, because then you don't have these thoughts and we're not our thoughts, we're going to have these thoughts. And a lot of times it's the ego that throws all these thoughts in our head. And so it's just taking control of it. So what about those that feel like they're the victim and that they're not doing anything whatsoever, but they're the ones being attacked? What about?
The thing, you mentioned before in this conversation something that is very important, that you don't put labels and you don't say that this is good or this is bad, right? Because everybody's entitled to their own way of thinking and living. Well, this is no different, you know, who is a victim and who is the aggressor. And of course, after an interaction is very obvious, right? If someone hit you on your car, or if someone did something to you when you were a little kid, or abused you or something, I mean, one of those situations is pretty clear who was the victim and who was the aggressor. But the problem is, what I'm talking about here is something different. It's about you taking the label of I am a victim, right? And not taking and not erasing that one and saying this was an experience, a very disgusting experience, something that I don't wish to anybody or whatever it is. But as soon as you put a label of victim, of I am a victim, then it's very difficult for the universe to help you. We talk about this in other lives that we shared before. And so I'm just gonna go through a very, very quick pass, because you know, your energetic, your physical self has priorities, and your energetic self and your spiritual self have this situation where they are allow themselves to be second to the wishes of your physical self, because your physical self only have, let's say, 100 years to experience everything that they want to experience. So if they understand that you want to experience something as a victim, they're gonna allow you to, you know, and they're not gonna bring you the tools to help, the people that can help you get the gifts out of that experience, because we talked about this before. I think it was on our last share, that everything that is bad in your life comes with something good. They don't gonna reveal the good part because you haven't finished with the bad part, you know. So that's the situation, you know. And so especially if you are the victim, it's on your best interest to take ownership and work it out, you know. And I know that it sounds weird, and to a point it is, you know. How can I take ownership of someone abusing me, of a priest doing these things to me, you know? Well, it's easier if you think that if you don't take the ownership and you don't start erasing that label that says victim and replacing it by one new one that says experience, you're gonna go through the rest of your life carrying that thing with you, on top of you, and
Right.
it's gonna affect your finances, your interactions with other people, the way that you love other people, the way that other people love you, everything, you know, your interaction with children, your interaction with other holy persons. I mean, it's gonna transform your life.
Totally.
But if you take it as an experience, then you are still taking ownership of that, and you start the process. I'm not saying that it's gonna be an easy process, but it's gonna be a process that eventually gonna finish, and you're gonna be on the other side, joining the rest of the people enjoying life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because like what I'm hearing with that, and it is, some people, I mean, they go through really horrible experiences, and and I get that it's really tough to say take responsibility, but that victimhood to me is, there's an energy to it. So when you have that victim energy, then you have that pattern, and you continuously will attract more and more experiences to be more of a victim. And until you break that pattern and start to look at being at cause rather than at effect of something.
And lastly, yes, no, you're totally right. But lastly is the other side as well. You know, the side that if you don't take ownership, you keep missing the opportunity to get the gifts out of it, and then most likely you're gonna be the perpetrator of other people in a different way, but you're still gonna be the perpetrator of other people, because that's how life works. It allows you to experience the other side of the coin, because the purpose of life and experience are to heal them. You know, it's just an experience. It's not to remain with them for the rest of your existence and then carrying it forward for the next one, right? It's you're gonna be playing the role and making things to other people so you can get even with life, and it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not a good way to live.
No, not at all. And I always, one thing I always remember from what you always say is like, it's all about balance. And so it's like, even if we don't experience the other side in this lifetime, then it's going to happen in another lifetime to balance it
Mhm.
all out, right? So then what about cases with racism? Because I know that's something that's like a sticky topic right now, but what can be done in this situation? Unfortunately, it exists, right? And so
Yeah.
it's a tough subject. I always just say the power of love and just the power of a smile. And I know for some people, they feel like, no, they need to be heard or whatever that looks like for them. And
Right.
it's an uncomfortable topic. And I do feel like it's something that could make a difference for people, especially.
Yes, there's a lot. I mean, we can spend an entire hour on this only because there are many things here. One is we don't live things that we're not supposed to live, right? So there's a reason why we are in the receiving side of discrimination, just to put it that way. You know, there's a reason, and I cannot tell you the reason. That's something that only you can find by going in. You know, that's where the magic of the deep meditations come into play. You know, when allow you to go inside of you, start asking your own questions and getting your own answers, not someone else's answers, but your own answers. Um, there's a reason why you're living that experience. Second, how bad it is. You know, I grew up with brown skin in Mexico City, and in Mexico City, it's a country that was ruled by conquerors. You know, there was a huge population there, the natural population, and then the Europeans came here, and they were the ones that built pretty much the country, right? Because indigenous people used to live in their indigenous way.
Mhm.
And they bring good and bad things. We can see many things as bad right now, but without them, we probably wouldn't have electricity, drainage, food. I don't know, many things, right? Cities, beautiful beaches, all the resorts, all that kind of thing. But in Mexico City itself, is still, well, when I was growing up, I'm 50 years old, I don't know how it is right now. But on TV, on local TV, all actresses and actors were always light skin or blonde, you know, clear, clean. The eyes were like blue, green,
Mhm.
hazel, you know, something like that. And so in the service people, it's always the lower classes, and the lower classes are usually brown. So I actually, because I'm coming from a mixed family. You know, my father was son of a general, so I have uncles that were secretaries of state. They were governors. I have a lot of my family in politics, and then I have on the side of my mother is where the shamanism and all the energetic things coming from, and so I was in the mix, and I was on the receiving end of all that bullying. But because of that, is that I always spend a lot of time with myself and
Mm.
trying to figure out things and discovering things. So everything that I am doing right now is because I was on the receiving end of all the discrimination. Now, that is one side. You know, it's only one part. It's the part that I can tell that it was a good experience after all. You know, it wasn't when I was living it, but turned out to be something good. Now, the second thing is, well, when it comes to race, as soon as you start, and we just talk about this, as soon as you start putting labels like Hispanic, like I don't know,
Caucasian.
Asian,
Yes.
Caucasian, you know, you start making sure that everybody's different.
Yep.
You know, because
Separation.
you are putting a label, you are creating separation. That's the
Hmm.
perfect word. You are creating it
Yeah.
by the labels that you are putting on. So my view, my personal point of view, and if I am affecting anybody else's beliefs and thoughts, I apologize in advance. But my thing is that if I make you different, if by putting you a label, then I am not helping to heal this. I am just a contributor to it. You know, it's for me, it's just a human being. You know, And actually, for example, I used to own businesses before. I used to have check cashing businesses, and all my employees but one were female, were women, and they were asking me why, if you're trying to get them, and abuse them and all that stuff. It's like, when I hire someone, I don't pay attention in the gender. I don't pay attention in the age. I pay attention in the way that they service people. They have this natural way, and they're happy by helping other people, or this is a job that they have to do in order to put food on the table. If they have to do it, we are not a good fit. But if these are people that are people's people, it's amazing, because everything else I can train them, I can show them, I can teach them. But that particular thing about being good with people and don't get a trigger when a client is upset, it's a must, and it turns out that there were women, and for me, they were the best employees. And I always have women working with me in projects. Right now in the project that I am, the person that I'm working with, and all the helpers are women. I am the only man here, and it's because of that. It's based on skills. It's so the communication with other people is based on the skills. It's not based on labels. It's not based on the age. It's not based on how they look. It's just on the energy, And then when we go to that level, when we start talking about about energy as a label instead of white, kid, female, black, Asian, it changed everything. It changed everything.
Judgment. It creates judgment.
Exactly. And assumptions.
Yes.
Because for example, if I am working, I'm working downtown San Diego. And I leave usually very late at night, and there's a bunch of homeless here, and everything that I'm listening to it is that the young black kids can be dangerous and can be drug addicts and all that stuff. Well, then I have a label that says young black kids are dangerous, right? And if I come across once, my heart is going to start like boom, 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 boom. And they're going to feel my fear, and I can be a prey to them, or, but if I just say, hey, kids, cool skateboards,
Totally.
I remember those days. It's different, you shift everything, you shift interaction, you shift the experience, and then I create references, good reference in my mind, and those good references in my mind are gonna help me the next time that I am having a similar experience with someone else. So my suggestion is just don't put labels on them.
Yeah.
It's just another experience, another person. That's it.
I'm in such an agreement with you. Like one of the things I always say, because I'm pretty international. I'm Persian. Parents are Persian. Born in Germany. Grew up in Colorado. Moved to San Diego. So I've kind of been all over myself, and a lot of people see me and I get all kinds. People think I'm Hispanic. People think I'm Middle. I get all kinds of things,
right.
And it's just so interesting because people always want to know, well, where are you from? What's your nationality, right? And it's it's so interesting, but I'm hey, we are all the same on the inside. If you cut us open, we have the same structure, skeletal structure. We bleed the same color blood. And so for me, it's we're all one race, and it's all these labels. Even earlier today, I was saying, gosh, if only we didn't have such thing as history and we could just erase our past, I feel like we would all get along so much better because, yes, the history unfortunately exists, but that is what causes so many people to hold on to the pride. I'm not saying, I hope I'm not offending anyone, and I'm saying this from a Persian standpoint because Iran was invaded so many times over and over again. Right. So there's a lot of judgment, distrust of so many people in that culture because of it. And so it's just, to me, and when I look at that, it's well, it's because of so much history that's just continued to be created over and over. All these stories are being told, and so therefore these labels continue to stay around, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you know what, friend, because then we have to bring another third component, and the third component is I'm sure that because you were Persian and you were brown, you probably was on the receiving end also of some sort of discrimination here and there, right?
Yeah.
And I am a Hispanic, you know, brown. I am 6'2", and I don't have the facial features of an indigenous, but so that makes a little bit of a difference. But the thing here is that we experience racism in a different way because we've been on the receiving end.
Yes.
Right? So we cannot expect the someone that is in the other side of the balance to understand us and understand how we think and understand what we believe on, right? Because our beliefs and everything were shaped, of course, through the meditations and the work that we do with other people also, but also our younger years when we were on the receiving end of that discrimination. And how I learned this is because I always help a lot of people to deal with loved ones, you know, when loved ones pass, you know, they die, and then they are experiencing this excruciating pain, and I try to console them, and I try to help them, and I try to connect them through meditation with their energy so they can have a conversation and they can feel better about it and all that stuff. And I always was like, I mean, it cannot be that bad, you know, they don't have the limitations of the body, so on and so forth. I always tend to be very positive. So I was seeing all the advantages for the person that was leaving. And for the person who was staying, well, also started seeing all these different advantages until someone that was the love of my life died. At that particular time, I went through the pain, and I went through all the phases of healing that loss, and then I finally was able to understand what people are going through.
Yeah.
You know, and that bring me a huge lesson, an invaluable lesson, you know, about many things, but especially because of the topic that we have today, that people can honestly not relate to something that they haven't experienced. You know, I don't know how it feels to lose a kid, you know, either to sickness or an accident or being killed. You know, I have no idea because I never experienced it, and I hope never to experience something like that. But what I can do for that person is not tell you, I know how you feel. No, that's wrong. Like, you know, it's impossible for you to know. And it's just like, I am here for you. You know, I am here for you. And
how can I support you?
Yeah, I wish you to have a lot of love, and that you can feel the love of all the people that used to love that person, you know. And because, like I said, it's different. And when we're talking about racism, it's gonna be very difficult for the stereotype of the person that usually bully the other person to understand how it feels. You know, it's just not relatable. You know, and they also experience a lot of discrimination because there's a lot of social discrimination. And that can be more painful than the physical discrimination, but that's something that we have to consider also, you know, when we're communicating with other people about this type of topic.
Yeah, because it's like the experience is what brings us the relatability, which is actually the reason why I became an empowerment health coach, is because of my own experience, because I knew that when I had a coach, I so wish that she could relate to me as much as she was there to support me. There was no relatability. She didn't go through what I went through. She didn't feel the things I felt, right? She didn't go through those treatments, and it was tough, right? And so that's why I feel like I can make that difference for my own clients because of that, because I at least can say, hey, I know what it feels like to go through chemo and feel nauseous and want to throw up in the middle of the night. Like, I get that. I've been there, right? Yeah. I know what it feels like to shave my head and be bald, or even just my experience last week, for instance, right? Like, I shared, for those of you that didn't see, I actually, my happy place is volleyball. I love volleyball. And all of a sudden I got triggered, and because I have a lesion right now, and then I don't know, maybe it's gone. Who knows? I have my MRI next week. But because I do have a lesion, all of a sudden some something triggered inside of me, and there was like fear all of a sudden that, oh my God, I'm not playing as well. This must mean that I have a tumor. All this weird stuff came up. And like, I could have gone that victim route and I could have just stayed in it. But for me, it was just looking at that fear and taking responsibility for the fear, which is what had me share on live. And then what was beautiful is working with you the next day, Jacob, and that made such a huge difference to actually heal what was there and release any of those trapped emotions.
And you know what? This is a very important share that you did, because it's not only people, we're experiencing our life in the physical world, right? So for example, if I want my desk to be clean, I need to organize it and I need to clean it up with a rag or whatever it is, and then it's gonna be clean, right? And it's not gonna get dirty until a few days after more dust fall on, or someone, I don't know, drop a cup of coffee or juice or whatever on top of it, right? And then you know what to do and you just clean it and it goes back to normal. Now, because most of our life and experiences are in the physical world, we expect the emotions behave in the same way. But unfortunately, they don't. You know, they're different. It's a different animal, because we probably heal that experience for you, Anuschka, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 times. I have no idea. I never counted. And then, but it show up again. Yeah. So instead of thinking, oh, all the work that I've been doing has been a waste, it's like, no, it's actually a little part that was hidden behind something else that we were not able to bring. Finally, something happened, because we talk about this in other lives as well, how your subconscious mind gets triggered, you know, how the components that you were experiencing at one particular time, and such a good thing that you bring that topic, because that's a comproval of what I told you before. You know, when certain components that you had, when you experienced it last time, get recorded in your subconscious mind, that created trigger. So when you relieve it, that trigger activates a program in your subconscious mind, and all the emotions, it becomes a reality for you. You know, it becomes like if you are living it again, because your subconscious mind enters in an automatic mode, showing everything. So now you were, like you said, you were probably not playing your best, and I'm sure that at one point the smell of the air, the brightness of the sun, everything else was part of the components of the program. So your brain assumed, oh, if I have this and I have this and I have this, it means this, you know, and boom,
it was the reactions. Like I was reacting slower, and like, and because I remember my reactions being slower back then, it was just like, oh, I connected the dots all of a sudden without thinking that, hey, I only slept 5 hours, and I totally didn't even think about that part of it, right? And like what I love about what you shared is like we're always going on the deeper level. I actually posted something about how the path is not a straight line. It's actually more of a spiral.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, totally,
it's like we're continuously coming back and getting to that deeper level, that deeper truth in that spiral. And I was like, that is brilliant, because it is. We're always going to come back to it. It's just the next layer, and that's
and it's the smartest way that your body used to make sure that something is healed. It allows you to relive it again. And it's gonna allow you to live that experience again, to make sure that you don't have any energy attached to it, you know. And the next time that you live it, you may feel sad, but they're not gonna bring you to tears, or they're not gonna feel that anxiety or all that good stuff. You see, that's how it is. That's how it is. It's the wisdom of life at play here, just allowing you to go through the same stage or process over and over again until it's like meaningless in your life, you know.
Yeah, until there's really no charge or trigger or
exactly
to it, right?
And like I put you on Facebook, I think it was that you know, that's a gift. I mean, going through that process is a gorgeous gift, because
when
can
you
you
take
imagine going
responsibility
through
though,
life with that?
right?
Yeah,
When you take
obviously.
responsibility and you take
Yeah.
owner, and that's why we're just a full circle. It's like when you do take
Yes.
that responsibility and ownership, you are able to see the gift in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you can work it out. You can
Yes.
heal it, and you can do the thing. Oh, is this gonna be permanent? Is this gonna be forever? Who knows? Right? Who knows, and who
Mhm.
cares? Because if it's showing up again, we're gonna go through that again.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that is what it matters. I always share with the people, because sometimes they say, well, until when? Until there's no life left. You know, until there's no more life left.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it is.
We're here and we are healing until the last breath we take. That's what I say.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, absolutely.
do our best
Absolutely.
until then. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I have
Exactly.
a
And that's what
couple
matters.
comments here. Let me take a look.
Sure.
Oh, Mary says hi. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Mary, say hi. You know where she's
She's on Facebook.
no, but you know where she's interacting with us from?
No, where is she there?
Ireland.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, we are
That's
in the other side of the world right now.
Yeah, that is. Well, hello from Ireland. To Ireland. Naveed says, I often have to deal with clients taking ownership and responsibility for their actions. Helping them get there is rewarding. I love you guys. I'm going to share this. I am practicing, not always what I preach. I think that's a lot of us.
Even us,
Yeah.
as we've been sharing, right?
Totally.
We go through the same process
Yeah,
again.
I mean, I cried in the middle of a volleyball game. I mean, come on. That happened. So we're all human. We all have that. And I feel like we're coming up on time. So I'll just give it a couple minutes, see if anybody has any other comments to make, any questions. And in the meantime, it's Tuesday. So we're doing our deep meditation, aura cleansing, and all that great stuff tonight. It's very healing, and you get to go through forgiveness and forgive your past self, forgive others. I think it's a really powerful weekly practice that I'm loving.
Yes.
And I every time experience something newly. I feel like I get deeper every time. So I'm all about it and would love for more of you to join us. And I will definitely share more around that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is our Empath Workshop. So at this point, we're getting pretty much all the details. I've pretty much created the different links and whatnot. It is going to be on Sunday, July 26th, so 12 days from now. And it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for the price of $44, which is literally nothing because it's a $500 value, really. So would love for you all to join us if you do feel like you're an empath. It's not for everyone. It's for those that are discovering themselves to be empaths and feeling other people's emotions. And so there'll be more details to come out around that. But if you do feel like you're an empath, highly recommend it. Anything else you want to share around that, Jacob?
Yes. Well, it's an opportunity for us to understand how it is to know how it is for how to live with that gift, because I call it a gift, you know, and interact with other people, and don't be a prisoner or feel that this is a curse. You know, it's just something that we can heal from the past, and then tools to keep living ourselves, you know, to keep moving forward, you know, and that's what it matters, you know. That's what we want to create. We're gonna record this event, so if you don't want to show up your face in the future, let us know. But we will require you to have, guys, a signed consent that we can share this, because the idea, we are doing it very inexpensively. Because we want to be able to share this with other people for a nominal price, because I have less time and less time as time goes, and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do this live again with other people, you know. So I prefer just to have something record and give it to them when they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, and if you do want to join and don't want your video on, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I do believe that those that join are going to get more out of it, because we're all going to be in the energy of it. So
And not just that, I mean, we're gonna work through your specific questions, through your specific issues, right? Because we are asking in our meditations to bring the right people to the event. So it can be like a broad example of all the different situations that they're going through. So because like I said, we're gonna use it to sell it to other people.
And it is online, in case we didn't say that already. Awesome. Well, it looks like we're not having any other comments or questions. So thank you all for joining us. And yeah, if you're looking to, again, as always, if you're looking to take your health and healing to the next level, feel free to message me. Feel free to message Jacob, and we can definitely have a session with you as well.
Absolutely, guys. Take care, and I hope to see you at the meditation later on today. It's at 7 p.m. Pacific.
Yes,
Pacific
7 p.m.
time. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.